Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Diana's Talk Show. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I learned now that I'm 23, and it's something that I wish I knew when I was going into my 20s. This is actually something that I did, so it turned out well for me, so that's why I want to share it to anyone who is going in their 20s and doesn't know what they want to do with their career. Or just with their life in general, doesn't know what they should be doing. This can apply to anyone in their 20s who is like maybe not sure what they should be doing. So this is also something that I learned from this book, The Defining Decade by Meg J. Why Your 20s Matter and How to Make the Most of Them Now. This is something that I did without even having read this book. This book kind of confirmed what I suspected. I read this book in 2022, I think, or 2023. It pretty recent, like in the past year or two. And basically the lesson that I learned myself, and also the lesson that is confirmed in this book, is that you should follow what you're interested in and like the general area that you're interested in. So for example, in my personal journey, I started being interested in film when I was a senior in high school, and it just sort of clicked for me. Like I was a senior in high school and I was taking a screenwriting class because at the high school that I went to, screenwriting was being offered as an English credit. So that class completely changed me and it kind of clicked like, oh, this is what I should be doing. And it just clicked within me. So I think we all have those things that sort of just make sense to us and just click within us. It could be a hobby or an interest, something that we all have those specific niche interests that from a young age we express interest in. For me personally, it was always the arts, whether it was writing, theater, film. I was always primarily a writer, and I was always interested in the arts primarily. Like it was just something I knew. When I was going into high school, I knew I wanted to audition for the plays. I knew I wanted to keep writing, and it wasn't even something that I had to think about. I was writing and I didn't know what I was doing consciously. I was just doing it. Like I would journal all the time. Growing up, when I was younger, I always kept journals. In high school, I always journaled in my Google Drive. Like I have Google Docs from when I was a young teenager, and I would always come up with pieces, and I would always instinctively want to share them. Like I would always feel like, oh, I want to share this in some way. Like whether it was an open mic or on social media, or even like I had a secret blog on WordPress. My WordPress is now public, so you can check it out. I will put the link below. I just publish random poems, and I would publish on a secret WordPress blog. I would have a Wattpad fan fiction stories that were pretty popular. Like I still remember those Wattpad days of when I was in high school. So my point is, with saying all of this, is that in my example, I always gravitated towards something and I followed that interest. So I think when you're in your 20s, let's say you're in college or you're not in college and you're like, what do I do? What decision do I make? I personally think you should follow your interests. And I feel like when you follow your interests, it makes you happier. It makes you feel more fulfilled. And also, even if it's something uncertain, I feel like with myself and with like my friends and the people who around me who have creative interests, there's always this fear and uncertainty. I always like hear, oh, how am I going to make a living from this? How am I going to make money from this? This is uncertain, because an artistic career is uncertain. It's not as planned out as a different type of career where it's very logical, step by step, you do this. With an artistic career, which I think it is true, it's very like and it's not a linear path, because for me it was not a linear path when I was going into my 20s. and I was figuring out whether I even wanted to go to college, what I wanted to major in. I was very back and forth. And Meg J, she actually talks about it in this book, that it's very normal for 20 somethings to be lost and to feel back and forth about things. She says that actually it's an age thing. Like, you go through this journey where you're very lost, like you just are all over the place. And that was very true in my experience. In my early 20s, I was so all over the place. And my college years, like the age range of 18 through 22, I took 5 years to finish college. So I'm 23 and I'm graduating this week. And so from 18 to 22, though, I would say I was all over the place. I didn't know what to commit to. I just knew the general area I liked was arts, so I pursued that, though. So even though I was floundering, I still decided to go to college. I decided to major in an art major. I decided to major in film. But that was not always the case. It took me so long to commit to film because when I was going into college, I wanted to be an English major with a film minor because the college that I first went to didn't offer a film major. They didn't have that. So I was like, okay, the closest thing is a film minor and I'll do an English major because I like to write. And then I was like, oh, I want to do psychology. So I was a psychology major for some time. In like my freshman year going into my sophomore year, I was a psychology major. I changed it because I thought, oh, I would rather just get a predictable life and a stable job, because part of me fantasized about a stable, predictable, boring life. I actually, for some time, thought that's what I wanted. I was like, I see myself like, moving to the suburbs, getting a nice house, and just being a psychologist or a therapist. And I was very interested in that type of stuff, but I didn't do well in my classes. I wasn't really motivated. I think I was convincing myself that that's what I wanted. It was very much like, yeah, that's what you want. That's what I see for myself, but it wasn't honest. So something that helped me in that time was getting therapy too. So I definitely, if you have the means to, I recommend therapy 100%, whether it's offered by your school. This is not sponsored, but BetterHelp is a therapy online platform that I've used. I've used that platform like twice. And so when I was 19, so I was in my sophomore year of high school, I had therapy online, and my therapist actually encouraged me to switch my major back to film because she told me, she was like, you should that's not a good answer, going into psychology because you want a predictable, stable life, If you're actually interested in film, you should do that. So she motivated me, and so I switched back to film as my major. And then I had a life coach. So basically, I think another thing, you need to get help, whether it's a life coach, a therapist, other people who have been through it and now can guide you. So that's why I'm sharing my story in this video. And I share my story in all my videos because I really want to help someone else who is uncertain. And as someone who's been there, like I'm graduating college this week, I'm 23. So I'm almost at the mid-20s point. I think like 24 is mid-20s. So, I'm wrapping up my early 20s. So I can really report back on what helped me get through my early 20s and what helped me get to this point right now, because I feel like I'm really at a point where I am so sure now. I'm way more sure. Again, like I said earlier, with an artistic career, it's not a linear path because it was not linear for me. First, I was in film, but even film, like what do I want to do within film? That took me a long time to realize as well. It's just a matter of like educating myself, and I'm still learning. I'm continuing to learn and figure things out, but it will figure itself out as it goes along. So I'm not worried about that, but I know that I can't really plan for things in my career in film because I can plan as much as I can, but sometimes maybe I will want to pivot. That's happened so many times where I've wanted to pivot, or I'm like, oh, let's bring this project back. Like, let's work on this project. Or what if I try to make this project, you know? Or what if I want to work on this project? And simultaneously also, what kind of job can I get in film? Like, I want to get an internship. So all these things are still in my minds, but I know enough now to not be freaked out about the variables, you know, about things could possibly change, and that's fine. But I feel like I'm still progressing because I'm still going for my interest, and I'm still progressing within the industry that I chose to be in, you know. So again, going back to the point about getting help, I had a life coach when I was 20, the summer after my sophomore year, because I was wanting to leave the college I was at. I wanted to transfer, and I wanted to take a semester off because in the spring of my sophomore year, when I was 19 turning 20, I had a very bad spell of depression for months. Like my sophomore spring, I was just very low. I was very depressed. And so by the end of that semester, I was so burnt out that I was like, I can't not do this anymore. I can't go to this school anymore. Like, or at least I need to take a semester off from school to figure it out and to recuperate and think about what I really want for myself. Like, what are my next steps? So yeah, that first 2 years of that college that I went to was in Minnesota. So I went to another state, and I'm from New York. So I came back to New York that summer when I was 20, and I got a life coach. And that life coach was very helpful. She was spiritual as well. So she would come help me with that perspective. I think I really needed support, but I also needed support in the perspective that I was in, because I needed like a spiritual life coach. Like I needed like also someone who had the same spiritual beliefs as me, you know, like that's very helpful. Somebody who has some of the same beliefs as you know, and who could see things from your perspective. That's super helpful. So that life coach, she also encouraged me to follow like what made me excited. Like she told me like to think about like what is, without any doubt, without any fear, without uncertainty, without overthinking it, what would make you resoundingly happy? What is a resounding yes, no matter what logical thoughts come into play. So for me, that resounding yes was living in New York. I just like really wanted to stay here. I like love New York. I love New York. And I at that moment, I just felt that I really needed to be in New York. And there was so many things that were illogical, you know, like I could have finished college in 2023. That was my intended graduation date, my intended graduation year. But if I transferred, I would be set back because I was going to take a semester off as well. I took the semester off in the fall of what was supposed to be my junior year. And then I transferred in that process. And so I was like, okay, that's going to set me back at least a year, because then I'm going to have to catch up on credits and all of that. So do I really want that? Because then I would really be all set if I could graduate in 2023, my expected date. And then it was also like, your life is going to be, I'm going to have to, I just, it was so uncertain. Like I didn't really know. And so I just chose the school that I was going to transfer to. I've talked about this on my channel, but City College of New York. I chose that school because they had a film program, and they had a 2-year like intensive, you know, like focused major. And so I saw that online, and I was like, yeah, it's done. I'll apply. And then that's what happened. Then I got into that school, and I started in 2022. So basically what I'm trying to say with my story and all of this is like, I would advise you to follow what you're interested in, because that's going to unfold things for you. So whatever it is, like I said, it could be a hobby, an interest, like Even if it's like a career that's not artistic, like still continue with that interest. And even if you're floundering like me, my point is, like, I was floundering and I was very lost in my early 20s, but the thing that I feel saved me and that put me on the track that I'm on right now, because right now I feel like super, like, just that I really believe in what I'm doing. Obviously sometimes there's uncertainty, but not really. Like, I don't worry, I don't. There's people that would worry if they were in my situation, because an artistic career is uncertain, but I don't worry. I know what I'm doing. I feel like I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, not that, oh, I have it all figured out and that I'm so smart. And it's not even that. It's just that I have so much trust now. I have so much trust because I see what I overcame, and I see that I am following my true interest. And I believe in that so much. I really believe in everything it took to get me here. And I really believe that everything unfolds the way it's supposed to. I really believe that everything happens for a reason. Like, those strong beliefs, and especially most of all, I have a very strong belief in myself, and I can't even explain more than that, because that's what it is. So having that certainty and that trust with myself, because I followed my intuition, and when you follow your intuition, you build a trust in yourself. It's a very strong trust that is unexplainable. So also building confidence that you do what you say you're going to do. That builds a lot of confidence as well. So all those factors made it possible for me to now be in a place where, okay, I don't have that much uncertainty about what career I want, for example. Sure, there's uncertainty within my career. I don't know all the time how it's going to play out, but I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that I don't regret my choice of what career I wanted to go into. I don't regret the choices I made. And I think that I got me. I always got me. And that trust makes it so that I keep pursuing my interests and that I keep myself open to opportunities available around me. So if you're lost and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm in my early 20s and you're very stressed out about that. That's what I would advise you to do, is to follow your interest, follow what piques your interest, and keep yourself open to things. And also just don't give up on trying to find opportunities related to what you're interested in. Definitely keep yourself in that space, in that field. What saved me was majoring in film and deciding to go to college for it. If I didn't go to college, but I wanted to do film too, that's another possibility. But that means that I have to keep myself in that vibration, in that circle, in that energy. So whatever you want to do, you just have to surround yourself in that community. Like for film, I don't have to go to film school, but I have to do something that will keep me in that community anyway. I could choose to take courses on my own. I could choose to watch videos about filmmaking. I could choose to hang out in spaces where film students are at and interact with them and work with them. I could choose to put myself in situations where I would be surrounded in a film community. I could make my own film and just do it myself and recruit people. There's so many things that you can do within the interest that you have that could give you more information on how that path can unfold. Or if you want to be a psychologist, think, okay, to be a psychologist, I have to get this degree or I have to get this requirement. So I'm going to go do it. I don't know what type of psychologist I want to be, but I know that I really am interested in mental health and psychology. So I'm just going to go for that general field. And then from there, I can figure out exactly what position I want and what jobs I need to get, what jobs I need to look out for. So that's what you need to do. I feel like it's just be honest about what you're interested in, go for it, and then you have to embody it. Like, you have to put yourself in those situations related to your interest. You can't just like expect that it's going to work out if you don't put yourself in a space of your intended career or your intended interest, you know? And this goes for anything. Like, you want to be a hairstylist. Okay, what job should you get to be a hairstylist? Should you go to beauty school? What beauty school should you go to? How can you go to beauty school? And then from there, you slowly gain more knowledge and you figure out your path. You know, you could have thought, oh, I wanted to be a hairstylist, but then later on you decide, I want to specialize in this specific hair care service. And then you decide, okay, do I want to start my own hair salon? Do I want to start my own hairstyling business? And then later those answers come to you, but you have to go in that direction in the first place, and you have to you have to commit to that, you know, and you have to trust. You really have to trust that it's going to unfold for you. So that was pretty much my advice, and also my reflection on my college years and also my early 20s. So that's really what I would advise for you. I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will talk to you in the next video.